Hi, these comments are for KF. This is Michael, and I'm getting ready to listen to your integrated speaking practice test. Okay, so let me get the speaking rubrics here. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go to the integrated here. I think this is task 2. So you say, "Hi, Mr. Buckhoff. Please listen to, evaluate, and score my speaking practice test. I tried to avoid using it frequently this time." Good. Exactly. So you can show a little bit better sentence variety. So that's a good strategy. You say the man and woman express their opinion about the announcement, state both their opinions, and explain the reasons that they give for holding that opinion. Here we go. So we're ready here. We got the integrated speaking rubrics here. We have your practice test.
The man doesn't support the school's announcement, which is to make it mandatory for all the students to volunteer at least 3 hours a month in order to graduate, because he thinks that by making the
I love
volunteer
your tone. Your
mandatory, the
tone is
students
great.
will not enjoy it. And he also thinks that
Very
the
natural.
students' priority is to study, so they won't have enough time to volunteer. On the other hand, the girl supports the school's announcement because she thinks that by making the volunteer mandatory, it will bring the community and school together, and they will build a better relationship as well. And she also thinks that students will enjoy the volunteer anyways, and in the future, after they graduate high school, they will most likely volunteer on their own.
Okay, so I think that you are, let's take a look here. I think minimum is 3.0, 23. I'm going to say 23 to 25 points out of 30 on this. Okay, let me listen to it one more time and see if I can uncover any less obvious problems. But you seem to have a pretty good organization of ideas, right?
The man doesn't support the school's announcement, which is to make it mandatory for all the students to volunteer at least 3 hours a month in order to graduate, because he thinks that by making the volunteer mandatory, the
I don't know. I would probably say something like this. The reading passage discusses a new announcement about a campus policy, and the listening passage, the two students react to that new announcement. And then say, according to the reading passage, I would just briefly explain what the announcement is, maybe 5 or 10 seconds, and then you'll say something like, in the listening passage, the two speakers react to that announcement.
students will not enjoy it. And he also thinks that the students' priority is to study, so they won't have enough time to volunteer.
Okay?
On the other hand, the girl supports the school's announcement
Okay?
because she thinks that by making the volunteer mandatory, it will bring the
She thinks by making, let's go back to what you just said.
supports the school's announcement because she thinks that by making the volunteer mandatory,
She thinks by making, I'm going to put by making the volunteering mandatory. Volunteer can be a verb, right? So you want to turn that into a noun, you can make it into a gerund by saying volunteering. I don't want, I don't, if I said this, you could say it's important to volunteer, or I enjoyed volunteering at that activity. So you can use it as an infinitive or as a gerund depending on whether you're talking about it as a potential or completed action.
it will bring the community and school together, and they will build
Maybe say, therefore, according to the woman, this type of volunteering will bring the community and the school
a
together.
better relationship as well. And she also thinks that students
How about in addition, the woman believes.
will enjoy the volunteer anyways, and in the future, after they graduate high school, they will most likely volunteer on their own.
Good. So you had a little bit of trouble with the word volunteer, whether to use that as a verb or as a noun. So that means you have to understand a little bit more about gerunds and infinitives. So go to the grammar part of my course. I think it's grammar lesson number 26, I think. It's called gerunds and infinitives. I think you need a little bit better control over that grammar, but I do like how you did better. You didn't use a lot of it sentence constructions. That's a good strategy. You had some minor pacing issues, a few pauses and hesitations in there, nothing major. I'm going to go up a little bit. I'm going to put you at 24 to 26 points on this practice test. I think that's a fairly accurate score based on my analysis of what you just did.